This is only the second time that I've sat down to preach, and why I'm sitting down might become apparent very soon. A few weeks ago, I told the staff, I'm not keeping up, I'm not on top of things, I'm operating at the bottom of my resource level. I've got to the point I'm just going to have to make some changes. It was about a month ago. Following week, David comes into my office, says, hey, we're planning a new preaching series. Would you be interested in preaching one? Yeah, right. Where am I going to fit that in? What a joke. He puts down the themes for the weeks that we're preaching. This week is, next slide, rest for the stressed. I think God has a way of joking with us. Amen. Amen. I probably feel like I'm in the most stressed period of my life. And someone wants me to preach on being stressed and having rest. So here we are. Next slide. I'm very happy this morning just to put up a mirror and preach to myself. Okay, so I'm not sure if this will relate to you, but I need to hear it, and so hopefully some of you may feel a little bit like me. Who else feels a little bit like this? Okay, all right, so I'm not just myself. Okay, very good. What I'm going to try and do is tell you a long story, followed by a short sermon. Okay, so we'll see how we go. I want to tell you about my day on Tuesday, the 25th of March, a couple of weeks ago. Get to the office in the morning, have my coffee, sit down about 8:15, check my emails. Lo and behold, there's an email from myself. It's telling me it's time to check in for my flight tomorrow to Brisbane. Yikes. I'm supposed to be travelling a month later than that. If I've made a mistake, how am I going to get ready in 24 hours to go? I take the booking code, I put it in the New Zealand website, and up it comes, please put in a relevant booking code. Oh, okay. Okay, so maybe someone's scamming me. So I get on the internet, check the scam sites, and okay, no Air New Zealand scam sites at the moment. I made a booking through United Airlines, just the first one, so I put into the United booking code, and it comes up saying, this itinerary is no longer current. Oh, phew. What a relief. But it doesn't explain why I got an email from myself to check in for this flight. We started using, at the college, Microsoft 365 at the beginning of the year instead of Google, so we're still learning the system. So I opened up my calendar function, and there in March I've got like 5 or 6 flights. I click into April and I've got maybe 10 or 12 flights, and then in May I've got 15 to 20 flights. And I'm just like, for some reason, the computer has all by itself decided to scan my emails and put into my calendar everything it thinks I need to see. And it's not just the active flights, it's the cancelled flights, it's the changed flights. There's even some flights that I've tried to book, like, I don't want to do that. They're all in there. So I get on the internet. How do you get rid of the automatic function? Steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, yep, 2, 3. No, it doesn't work. Okay, another internet site, 1, 2, 3. No, and finally I find the function, get rid of the automatic assigning from your emails into your calendar system. Go back to my calendar. Flights are all there. It gets rid of the automatic function, but doesn't take away the flights that are already there. And so click, delete, yes, I want to delete. Are you sure you want to delete? Yes, click, gone. About 50 times. 2 hours wasted because the computer system decided it wanted to fish my emails and make my calendar. All right, we have a little bit of time with the students. Morning tea, come back, and a phone call from the bank. Back last year, we tried to take, we got money for the college sitting in the operating account. Why is it sitting there month after month? We could put it into an investment account. So we tried to set up an investment account for the Bible College. All the trustees have got to sign a piece of paper. Actually, they've got to sign about 3 rounds of paper. So we started this back in about September last year. Went through the process of doing that. Just nod your head if you've got, yeah, okay, similar situations. Comes back, no, you need to do this piece of paper, and it's just like, we're too busy, shelve it. Get to January this year, oh, I've got a bit of time, I'll redo it. So I take the extra piece of paper they want, and I go into the bank, and they're like, oh no, those forms 3 months ago, no good, start again. So start again. 3 rounds of paperwork, all the trustees have got to sign, go back into the bank. Oh, your IDs are out of date, so you need to do this. Okay, good. Back out, come back a few days later, we thought, there was something else, can't remember what else it was they needed. Okay, a week later, finally take all the documentation into the bank, drop it off, and they said, right, we'll just send this off to the anti-money laundering department. We've got some specialists and they'll check it out. And I'm just like, the money's been in your account for a year, it's our money, it's your bank, we just want to move it into a... I don't get... Anyway, all right. A couple of weeks later, they ring up, yes, you can do it, come in and do it. So David and I go in, take another trustee, we go in, let's get this done. First they want to check our IDs. Yep, okay, you are who you say. Oh, let me update your IDs on S. I just filled in the paperwork. All right, they do all of that. Now we can open up. No, then he scans through all the paperwork to say, yes, you can do it. And then we open up 4 accounts. Takes how long for each one? 5 or 7 minutes? Sign them off. And so we're there for about 45 minutes. And I'm about to leave, and I said, okay, so when they mature, can I just ring you up and say, reinvest or into our account? He said, no problem, just give us a ring. 1st of March, Nick rings the bank, rings the 800 number. No, we can't do that. You'll have to ring your local branch. Have you tried to ring your local branch lately? 10 days later, 3 lots of answer machines that you get, they finally ring Nick and say, oh no, you can't do that. 2 trustees have to do that. So I ring them up and we start the whole process again, and a couple of weeks later, finally on the 28 days later, we can authorise redoing the investment. Another hour, well, it's not an hour, this is hours and hours and hours wasted. Okay, last one. Next is back to my travel emails. I had one rental booking that wouldn't process, so go back onto the internet, try to process. I don't know if you have this problem, but if you're making a booking overseas, sometimes the credit card wants an extra level of, and they send you a text, and you put in the text code. Is this familiar? Yeah, okay. For some reason, mine doesn't work. Go into the bank several times, sort it out, they can't sort it out, they do it. In New Zealand, it works fine. But if an overseas company try to do it, it doesn't work. So, Jill, come let's do it on your credit card. Yep, she needs extra level of security, she gets a text, we put it in there, and good to go, payment's made. Whew, I need some water. 3 or 4 minutes later, she gets another text from the bank. Suspicious alert. We think this is a fraudulent transaction. Please give us a call. And so we call the bank, and you've got to go through the whole ID process with them, and then they want to send you a text to make sure they're talking to who. I'm just like, if someone's stolen Jill's phone and made a fraudulent charge, they just want to use her phone to make sure you've done it. Anyway, so cut a long story short, we finally get that processed. Actually, I know a little bit of why we got the problem, because a few months ago, Jill snuck off to Dubai and spent $1,700 at the Marriott in Dubai. Right? Somebody inside the Dubai hotel in the Marriott, behind a computer desk on their system, fraudulently charged us $1,700. And so now we've got to cancel the credit card, get a new one, and every time we make an overseas transaction, they are suspicious. Another few hours wasted because of the fraudulent activities of someone else. So, on Tuesday, 25th of March, it's 3:15, and I finally pick up my to-do list for today and start my jobs for today. I hope you've enjoyed the glance into my day. I'd like to say this is unusual, but I've got a lot more stories I could tell you, which we won't. It seems to me that someone has clicked some sort of celestial switch, thrown our universe into a much more chaotic way of life. Now, am I preaching to myself, or is this resonating with people? Next slide. Resonating? I need to know if it's resonating with you or if I just need to sit down. Yeah, resonating. You've been through the frustrations I've been through? Yeah. You get plagued by the complexity of what it takes to do something these days. You used to be able to go ABC and get this done, and now you've got to do ABC, MNO, XYZ to get it done. Yeah. Well, we're screwed. This world we live in and its systems, we're screwed. Sorry, we're screwed. If it's up to this world, we're screwed. This world is not going to get better. It's not going to get simpler. It's not going to take stress away. It's not going to take frustration. This is the world we live in, and it's just going to get worse and worse. And there's nothing we do in this world that's going to change that. If it's up to me, I'm researching islands or some country where life is a lot simpler. Does anyone want to join me? Yeah. So my solution's not going to work. God has a solution. It's the psalm that we're looking at and going through for this month. Next slide. Here's God's solution. God speaks to us about this. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. Okay, here is the sermon for today. 3 quick points. Number 1, it's okay to rest. In our world system, we live in a Western world, and all that brings, all the goodness it brings, but also all this negative stuff it brings, it does not encourage, emphasize, or reward rest. What it tells us is you need to be more productive. You've got to achieve more than you did last year. You have to make things better. So we're looking for ways to improve, which just adds an X, Y, and Z to what we already do. Or we change because it needs to be streamlined. It's never streamlined, is it? No. We're driven by economics. So you have to do more with less. The whole system that we live in builds pressure, stress, and burdens us. And so if we want to escape the system, we have to fight against what our society, what our system, what our culture. We have to accept and plan and prioritize rest. It's okay to rest. Number 2, it's necessary to rest. Just look at the psalm here. What does it say in verse 3? What's God going to provide us? God's going to provide rest. Where's he going to provide it in verse 2? Where? Green pastures and quiet waters. All right? Green pastures, quiet waters, God provides rest. Let's turn that round the other way. If we're not in the pasture, if we're not by the waters, God cannot give us rest. It is absolutely necessary. It is critical. We must find the places of rest. Number 3, think maybe the most important. At least it was for me. It's divine to rest. It's godly. I don't know the Hebrew, haven't studied it, but in English, as I read this, who makes us lie down? God makes us lie down. Who leads us? God leads us. Who refreshes us? God refreshes. God fills us up. God restores. God. This is God's activity. This is divine activity causing us to be in the place where we can have rest. Who are we to stop God doing his activity? We need to realize this is God's activity. It's divine to rest. We need to accept rest as a part of God's divine pleasure and activity for us. Okay, what does that mean for us today? Well, I'm going to tell you what it means for me, and maybe you can get some application out of this as well. Short term. Alex, first slide. Jill saw what I looked like after Tuesday the 25th of March. Sadly, that just typifies my life. Okay, that may be an extreme, but that's just what life is like this day. One thing after another, after another, after another to manage. And it just seems like you don't get to do what you really think you should be doing. It's just like, and so I'm just going down, down, down. Jill said, we are getting out of here. Okay, and we took 3 days off plus the weekend. Last weekend we weren't here and found some places of rest. Just to be quiet and to be still and to try and allow a little bit of recharging. That's short term. That was crisis. I had to do it. Otherwise things were going to get, well, let's just say I might get really nasty to the staff, which I don't normally do I? No, I'm not trying to blame them. All right, short term. Long term. Next slide. This is actually my own picture in the background. And I put it up there because it's a green pasture. Okay. In my life, in the past, I get through the year and then I think, what are we going to do for a holiday? What are we going to do for rest? What are we going to do for recharge? And we're trying to flip that and say, this year, what are we going to do? And plan ahead to have those times where you can be in the green pastures or beside the still waters. Now, these are biblical examples, biblical metaphors. It may not be a pasture for you, it may not be a river for you, but there are places where you get your rest. The places where you get filled up by God. Wherever they are for you, that's where we need to find. And so what I'm saying is short term, got to do it. Long term, be more proactive, more planning ahead of where this can happen. So that's the application that I've learned for myself. What happens if we don't do this? I've got a couple of friends. One of them is just got so perturbed and wound up this year about everything that's going on in the world, and you know everything that's going on in the world, and so they're just like, that's it, I'm off Facebook, deleted it, got rid of it. I'm not saying that's good or bad, I'm just saying to cope, they just had to get rid of that because they just can't handle the stress of what's going on in the world and how's it going to get resolved and how it's going to get fixed. And that's one friend over here. I got another friend overseas, and she's kind of feeling the same way, but she feels it more about what's happening inside the United States right now. Again, you understand what's happening inside, and that's just her reaction is, you know, oh, we're going downhill, this is bad, this is terrible, where's God in all of this? And to both my friends, I just want to say, God's in control. Right? Look at history. You know, God rises nations, brings them down, he sets up rules, God's in control, so just stop worrying about it. Well, I'm not stressed about those things, but they are. Okay, and so you can say that, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything. This morning, I'm talking about being stressed and finding a place of rest. So the application for me this morning is I need to let God be in control of my stress and the places of rest. Now the psalm, we're going through a series on the psalm, and so this will probably come up several different times over this month in several different ways. There are hundreds of scriptures I could probably throw out here this morning about letting God be in control, don't be anxious, all of these scriptures that we know, but I just want to say this morning to let God be in control. Next slide, Alex. This is what it means for me. If God's in control, I need to accept and practice it's okay to rest. If God's going to be in control, I need to accept and practice it's necessary to rest. And if God's going to be in control, I need to accept and practice it's divine to rest. Let's pray together.